Many men lack sexual confidence. Many men lack sexual confidence. Most men who have a certain level of sexual confidence, it wasn't something that sprang out of thin air. In most instances, these were men who were initiated into the sexual underworld by women. See, I wasn't a man who was initiated into the truth of female sexual nature by being invited into it by women. I was a man who did my research. I found certain things out, and then I began to study the red pill and female sexual nature, and I just grew up around seeing different aspects of female sexual nature. So after I gained and came to a certain position, a certain mindset, I began to craft the way a woman would perceive me, right? But this wasn't something that I just did from a place of pretending to be something that I'm not. What I did was I learned to tap into my own sexual energy and learn how to permeate that out to other women. And one thing that I've learned through this process is growing up, neo soul music is a cheat code to this game. If you want to understand female sexual nature, understand feminine nature, you need to understand what affects a woman's emotions. And understanding neo soul music, R&B, these things are a cheat code. They're a cheat code. I've learned this a long time ago. And by embodying, by listening to that music and embodying that music, you put yourself in a position where you begin to understand what it feels like to be sexually desired by a woman. And understand different aspects of how to maintain a woman's sexual desire even when you're in a place of showing vulnerability. This is why certain people like Robin Thicke is one of my favorite songwriters of all time. He wrote Can You Handle It by Usher, right? You know, can you handle it if I go there, baby, with you? See, what he's doing is he's juxtaposing the size of his dick. He's juxtaposing his masculine dominant sexual energy, and he's juxtaposing that with his emotional vulnerability. And by doing that, by understanding this, you're creating a challenge to a woman. You're catching her hand in the cookie jar, you're presenting a challenge, and you're elevating her sexual desire while also showing your vulnerability. See, what often happens is that a woman's internalized definitions of masculinity, even if she likes to think that she wants a man who's vulnerable, who's emotional, most women do not want that, and they cannot handle that. They lack the ability to handle it. Just like many men lack the ability to be able to handle and comprehend a woman's true sexual nature, many women lack the ability to comprehend and to experience a man's emotions without that causing her to lose attraction. So when you're able to show that, when you're able to create that level of sexual desire in a woman while you're also expressing different levels of your vulnerability, it puts a woman in a position where you combine the non-sexual and the sexual to where you're now no longer just a sexual object to the woman or an emotional resource, but now you've become a man who she can be in love with. So Can You Handle It is a great example. I love that song, right? Listening to neo soul music has taught me a lot. Oh by Marion is the song that really, a lot of the blurred pill comes from just growing up listening to songs like Oh by Marion. The way he expresses himself is very upfront. It's very upfront. And I'm not gonna try to take away from that at all. I'll say it's a very direct approach. He's telling women, I have these sexual intentions for you, and I have these intentions for you, but these intentions come from a natural place. I'm not going to pretend I don't have that. You're sexy to me, but I have skill. I'm not trying to have sex with you from a place of desiring validation. I want to have sex with you because I know I'm going to snatch your soul. I want to have sex with you because I know I'm going to make you come hard as fuck. And after I make you come hard as fuck, listen, it's a certain level of sexual confidence that comes with being able to express yourself emotionally while still creating sexual desire within a woman, right? There's also different things that you can learn. Another big aspect of it is if you're listening to a woman expressing her true sexual desires through her music, like one of my favorite artists, she's not in my top 10, but I really love her, Jasmine Sullivan. And I did a Blur Pill review and reaction of Hotels, right? This is a very great album. I love it. A lot of men were very upset about it when the album came out, even men who I know personally are very promiscuous. Why? It's because they don't understand the true nature of female sexual nature. So when they see a woman expressing her promiscuity or they see a woman expressing her true sexual desires, it can cause them to feel like it's cognitive dissonance. It can cause them to feel as if this woman is supposed to be a good girl. Why is she out here talking about having sex with all these different guys? And I had no issue with it whatsoever, because when you're listening to neo soul music, one thing that can help you transition into being more centered in your masculine and sexual energy as a man is listening to a woman's songs where she talks about her true sexual desires, and then placing yourself vicariously in the position of the man that she's singing about with desire. Don't listen to it from a perspective of this woman is cheating on you with that man. That shows a lack of sexual confidence. You listen to it from the perspective of the man that she's singing about, right? Like, let's say we're talking about the song "Own It," right? Or "On It" by Jasmine Sullivan and Ari Lennox. Let's say we're listening to that song, and she's talking about, little bow-legged hood nigga with a 9-inch, right? Well, most of us ain't gonna be no bow-legged hood niggas with a 9-inch. You know what I mean? But guess what? That doesn't matter. What matters is you're listening to the song, and you're listening to her talking about her desires. You're listening to her talk about how this man creates this desire in her to where she wants to fuck him. And when you hear that type of thing, you need to place yourself in the position of the man that she's talking about, right? Another example, this is a song that used to aggravate me, "Doves in the Wind" by SZA. I love SZA. She's one of my favorite artists as well. My favorite song at the end of 2020 was "Hit Different." And probably my first favorite song at the beginning of 2021 was "Good Days," right? Now, if you're listening to "Doves in the Wind," you're like, real niggas do not deserve pussy. And then you're hearing there's like, Kendrick Lamar talking about dick is disposable, right? And you're listening to that, and you hear these different lines that are said in the song, and you may get offended, because it's like, why are you talking about me as if I'm not desirable? But the truth is this: what you need to do is read between the lines. When you're listening to this song, she's talking to the men who have this Madonna whore complex, where they are placing women on a pedestal of the pussy. They're putting the pussy on a pedestal, and after they do that, they're trying to be transactional about it. But when you're a real nigga, the pussy it doesn't really matter, right? You want to have the sex so you can see if you have sexual chemistry with this woman, compatibility. But really, if you're a real man, and I don't want to use that like a shaming language to say that a man is not a real man if he's not like this, but if you are a real nigga as far as you have sexual confidence, you're dominant, you know yourself, you know what you want, then you are the man she was talking about. You deserve the whole box of chocolates. Now, the whole Jenny situation, I thought that was a really bad analogy, because no nigga really wants Jenny, right? Because the way she moved with Forrest was she went through all these years of doing all these different things, and then she caught something, and then she died from it, and he was left taking care of the kid. These are things that most men don't want to go through. But when you're listening to it, the whole box of chocolates, you're listening to Kendrick Lamar saying, how many times you gotta tell you that dick is disposable? But if she fuck a young nigga like me, it's over for you. You have to put yourself in the position of the young nigga that if she fuck, it's over for the other nigga, right? This is what we need to understand. Like, there's so many songs. A really great song that talks about this topic is Miguel's "Pussy Is Mine," right? A lot of men get in a position where we have this mindset where we want to be sexually jealous, we want to be possessive of a woman's sexuality, even though we do not own that woman. The truth is this: if you do not own that woman and she still desires you, that means more than if you own her, or if you feel like you possess her, and in this process of feeling like you possess her, she's giving you pussy because she's giving it to you because you're in a position where you're invested in her. It's a completely different thing. But when you're listening to "Pussy Is Mine," women love that song, and I love that song, right? And when you're listening to the passion and the pain that's within that song, he's like, lie to me, lie to me, lie to me so sweet, so I won't ever have to imagine that all the other niggas like me ever got a chance to get in your pants, so tell me that pussy is mine. Now, in this situation, he's looking at this woman, and she may be sexually promiscuous or whatever it is, but in this process of dealing with this woman, she treats him well. She's submissive with him. Every time he comes around, she makes him feel good. See, this is the type of woman you need to deal with. And I'm not saying you need to purposely find a woman who is promiscuous, but find a woman who's sexually liberated, and a woman who has the ability to be submissive with you and to treat you well, even if you're not in a relationship with her. These are things that are very powerful. Understanding how to show your vulnerability and to express that without causing a woman to lose attraction for you is very important if we're going to go about this blurred pill biology first approach when it comes to dealing with women. You can't use this biology first approach if you are so caught up on being sexually jealous, of trying to possess women, of putting them up on a pedestal and a mantle that will limit their ability to be seen by other men so that you can keep her to yourself. Because a lot of the times through that process, a woman is going to lose the ability to maintain and keep up things that cause her to be attractive. She is cutting off her ability to receive that validation from other men so that you will be willing to keep up with her, so you'll be willing to stay around. But honestly, the truth is this, and this is something a lot of men don't understand. And I'm not saying I'm on this level yet, but you can get to a certain level within your own sexual confidence where you can go out to a club with a woman. You can be a man, you're sitting back, you're sitting in the corner, sipping on your drink, maybe your whiskey sour, whatever it is, enjoying yourself, and you see that woman go out on the dance floor, she's dancing with some other dudes. She can go dance with somebody else. There's no chance she's giving that dude some pussy, right? But then after she goes dance with that dude, that turned her on. Guess what? You didn't have to do any work. The fact that you were unbothered by the fact that she was giving this other man some attention, she's going to leave there and suck the brown off your dick, and y'all gonna fuck like rabbits. These are things that men need to understand. Are you going to have a pimp mindset, or are you going to have a trick mindset? These are things that you need to know. Are you a pimp, a trick, or a hoe as a man? As a man, you got to know how to run your program. So, I'm a neo-soul artist. I write certain songs. I write songs because one thing that I understood years ago is that, and this is going to sound a little left field, but when we're talking about neo-soul songs and R&B, a lot of the times love songs are a more accurate depiction of the love of God than even gospel songs at times. I remember hearing songs like Lost Without You by Robin Thicke, right? I'm lost without you. I can't help myself. How does it feel to know that I love you, baby? I'm lost without you. And it's in my mind, I look at that this is how God feels about me, right? And when you look at it that way, it creates a feeling where you don't feel like you have to prove yourself for God to love you. And that creates a natural desire within yourself to love God as well, right? Because you know that he loved you first. Neo-soul is a cheat code when it comes to dating and relationships. Love songs are something that are very powerful when it comes to life. I'm a writer myself. I got some songs that I made. I have this song where I have this feature with Lace the Hands, great artist. We went to the same high school together, same college. And we have a song called Better. And in Better, I'm talking about, a BDSM relationship I had. And I said, I know you came a couple times. I can feel it how you rock. But who the fuck told you could stop? Don't make me get up. Girl, I thought you said you want a dom. Big talk, back that shit up. Don't run from it, back that shit up like you're dancing in the club, back that shit up. Because if I have to get up, I'm going to put it in your throat until you spit up. Now, a lot of people will listen to those type of lyrics and they'll think, man, this guy's real raunchy. But the truth is this. It's having the ability to speak to a woman's sexual shadow. Many women are sexually repressed. So if you have the ability to speak to a woman's sexual shadow, you will trigger something in her. That's why it's called toxic, right? Toxicity has a spectrum. Toxicity ranges from moral to amoral to immoral to illegal, right? And every man should have a certain level of toxicity that he uses, and that creates an emotion within a woman. And if you trigger that emotion sexually, a sexual desire within a woman, if you also have masculinity behind it that causes her to feel like she can follow you, then you put yourself in a position where that woman will be naturally submissive to you, regardless of how much money you have, regardless of sometimes even to a certain extent how you look. Natural submissiveness is something that you can learn through studying these neo-soul songs. Another great song, I was talking about it earlier, is Hit Different by SZA, right? And when you're listening to Hit Different, you have to put yourself in the mindset of the man that she's talking about, right? You have to understand that, women are better at separating sex from emotions than men, right? But when a woman feels a certain type of way about you and your dick is good, man, that woman will be crazy about you. You have to understand, it's not just about trying to make her comfortable. I had another song that I wrote. This isn't out yet, right? It's called Bigger Fish. And the Bigger Fish song is just basically about how, a woman may be in a position where she feels like her society tells her that she wants to be comfortable with a man. But comfort for a woman isn't about you trying to be feminine with her in order for her to feel like you're not a threat. A woman wants to feel like you're a bigger threat than what it is that she's afraid of. So that's why a lot of women may have rape fantasies. A lot of women may be into BDSM, being into situations where they love being dominated by men physically and emotionally and mentally during the act of sex. You know, you can get to the point where a woman where you're dominating to the point where she cries tears of pleasure during sex. You know, I've had that with multiple women, and when you have these type of situations, there's a natural submission that comes there. You know, when you have these type of relationships, these type of scenarios with women, these type of circumstances, you know, some men spend years and years trying to get a woman to finally submit to them. And really what they're just doing is communicating what that woman has to do transactionally to be cooperative. That's not submission. You can meet a woman the first day you meet her. Your approach with her is so masculine and your sexual energy is so strong that when you tell her to jump, that bitch gonna say, how high? You have to understand what I'm saying. Another thing is, like, you know, I say bitch in my songs. Why? Because one thing that I understand is the word bitch is polarizing. The word bitch is very polarizing. And when a woman hears you say the word bitch, what it's going to do is it's going to separate in her mind what kind of man she sees you as. If she sees you as a girlfriend type of man, as in you're just a man she doesn't see sexually, but you're like a girlfriend to her and it makes her no difference, she's not going to be offended. You know, if you're the type of man who she just really wants to fuck and she sees you as a dominant man, she's not going to be offended. But if she sees you as a man who is a beta male orbiter, who she sees as less than her, who she wants to give her validation and attention, and who she can use shaming tactics on, then she's going to get offended. And if she sees you as the type of man who's supposed to be a beta male provider, she's going to be offended because she expects you to be a gentleman, right? Neither one of those positions is one that is dominant in nature. So I use the word bitch regularly. Why? Because when I use that, you can see how a woman sees you. A woman can pretend to be cooperative with you, but you don't know how she really sees you unless you challenge her submissiveness. You have to challenge it. So, you know, when it comes to love songs, neo-soul, all these different things, you know, we can study these songs. We can study different aspects of these things to understand the ins and outs of these dynamics. Let me think of some more songs that may make some sense in these scenarios. Naked. Listen, Naked is a great song. Naked by Marcus Houston. I love that song. One of my favorite songs. You know, I had an ex, you know, I'd always be, don't worry, I'll be Gentile. I know that's kind of funny, but the thing is this. When you're listening to that song, it's about allowing a woman to step into being naked and unashamed. Like, what is more Christian like? And not everybody's a Christian. You don't have to be a Christian. I'm a mystic Christian myself. I don't adhere to a lot of the traditional beliefs and values because I don't believe that they're biblically accurate. That's why I still talk about sex and stuff, because I don't believe sex is a sin according to my beliefs and my interpretations of the Bible. So, you know, that's why I don't have to talk about that in all of my videos. But when we're talking about the song, it's a woman being naked and unashamed. This is innocence. It's, you know, take out them shoes, I want to see your toes. You know, it's different things. It's a woman taking off all her clothes, being naked, unashamed, bare, and vulnerable in front of you, and you look at her and saying that this is good. What represents the relationship between Adam and Eve before the fall more than that? You have to think about this type of thing. You know, neo-soul is a cheat code when it comes to dating and relationships. When it comes to establishing having both the ability to have vulnerability with a woman and having sexual attraction with a woman, neo-soul is a cheat code. Listen to these songs. Listen to these artists. You know, some of these songs are more so about dirty macking. I'll say that too. But a lot of times dirty macking, to a certain extent, is a man who is pretending to be a simp because he understands female sexual nature. So that's like Drake, or that's like Joe. You know, I'll do all the things your man won't do. I will say this, when you understand these type of songs as well, it's like you can see that, you know, a man may find a woman and she's new to him, so he's able to maintain that level of effort. But when a man has spent a certain amount of time with a woman, especially if their dynamic wasn't built off of the right foundation, then he won't be able to maintain the same level of effort or interest that a brand new man can, especially if that woman has fallen off some since they met each other. So some songs like that are like Dirty Mackin', and you know, there's other songs. Sweet Lady, that's a great song by Tyrese. Signs of Lovemaking, you know, I love that song as well. Like, there are so many songs that just express different aspects of sexual nature. You know, even some R. Kelly songs. And I know people say R. Kelly's canceled now or whatever it is, but like Sex in the Kitchen is probably my favorite love song by R. Kelly. My favorite baby maker by R. Kelly is what's it called? Baby Maker by R. Kelly, Sex in the Kitchen. When you're in a situation with a woman where she's very sexually attracted to you, then she's not worried about having to have sex in one particular place or by you having to plan it out, because she doesn't have enough natural desire for you that can be triggered on the spot, which is submissiveness is where it can be triggered on the spot. You know, let's say it's a situation where let's say the song is Take You Down. James Fauntleroy is one of my favorite songwriters of all time. You know, he's written like plenty of songs for Justin Timberlake, Beyonce. He's even written for my favorite artist of all time, Frank Ocean. He's written, you know, Bruno Mars. James Fauntleroy has some great songs, right? One song that he wrote for Chris Brown is Take You Down, right? Here we all alone in this room. Girl, I know what I'm about to do. It's like, it's a great song. When you really listen to it, you can embody the energy of these songs and begin to step into your masculine dominant sexual energy and understand the art of seduction. Another great song is like Make It To My Bed. Like To My Bed by Chris Brown. That's a great one as well. A very, very good song by James Fauntleroy is Storm. Storm. I'm not sure if he was the first one to write it, because I think Glenn something also had that song, so I'm not sure if he's the one who wrote it. But Storm by James Fauntleroy. You know, I want you to storm. Girl, I need you to keep my body warm. I want you to storm. You know, I can feel your storming temperature rising out. It's, you know, letting a woman's wave of emotions, showing that you're not intimidated by her emotions, showing that it's something that you can handle, and then using that woman's emotions and turning that energy into sexual energy. And then it also expresses that when a woman is in a certain place where her emotions and her femininity and her sexual energy is submissive with yours, it'll often turn out with her squirting. You know, that's what Storm is about. You know, some other songs, you know, just giving into that vulnerability, right? There's some great songs. I'm trying to think if I can remember some more off the top of my head. But a lot of these Blurred Pill reviews that I'm doing, where I'm talking about neo soul, where I'm making my own baby makers, it's because I understand the importance of these when it comes to socio-sexual dynamics. Let's see, what are some more songs that I really like? Oh, one of the greatest songs. You know, I think this is a song that will save marriages. My number 3 favorite artist. You know, number 1 for me, Frank Ocean, easy. Number 2 is James Fauntleroy, easy. Number 3, Anderson .Paak. Anderson .Paak has this song called Make It Better. Make It Better, I swear, that song will save marriages, because people don't understand the importance of sex. People try to, like, when people are looking for a serious relationship in a long-term situation, they have this Madonna whore complex where they don't see the importance of maintaining your sexual attraction and your sexual chemistry and compatibility throughout the route of spending time with someone. So when someone has a mindset, they're in a situation where they're dealing with an individual, and while dealing with this individual, they get comfortable. You know, sometimes you have to mix it up. Sometimes you have to go have sex in a new place. Sometimes you have to do it a new way. Sometimes as a person and as a couple, you've both grown and maybe grown in different directions, and you've gotten complacent. So you need to have that conversation where you know that there are new things that you're into to keep things spicy, to keep things interesting, right? And this is something that is very, very important. Make It Better, I swear, that song will save marriages. I remember I went to a Anderson .Paak concert, and when I went to that concert and I was seeing what people were talking about, I mean, I saw how people were dancing with each other. I was even dancing with an ex of mine when we went to that concert together. And it's a song where if that attraction is still there and that's still there, it can re-spark something. Take advantage of these neo soul songs. Listen to music. It's not about just, you know, listening to some bumpity bump all the time. You know, I like music as well, but there are just different things that you can learn about listening to these neo soul songs, this R&B music, that can really help your game. It can really help your game. That's why I do that on a regular basis. On a regular basis, I'm listening to neo soul music and I'm embodying that music, right? And through that process of embodying that music, I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much. A lot of my game came about from listening to neo soul music. Let me see if there are some more examples. I have to use Frank Ocean. I have to. But Frank Ocean, he doesn't make as many baby makers. But there are a lot of things that can be learned from Frank Ocean songs. Let's see if I have any Frank Ocean baby makers off the top of my head. Sierra Leone, I love that song. That is great. You know, spending too much time alone. It's just talking about when you have this young childlike level of love and affection with a person, where this sexual desire comes from a pure place, and going through this process of having this desire that comes from a pure place, you know, things can happen. It's a natural progression. It's a natural progression of sexual energy, right? Another song, Nikes by Frank Ocean. We're not in love, but I'll make love to you. That's a real thing that happens. People need to understand these different aspects of socio-sexual dynamics. Let's say it is, Silicon Valley by Anderson .Paak, right? Oh, another great example. One of my favorite artists. She may be top 5 for me. I have to think about it again. But Chicago Boy Broke and Chicago Boy by Ari Lennox, 2 great songs I love. Ari Lennox is one of my favorite artists because if we're looking at the socio-sexual dynamics within her music, Ari Lennox don't give a fuck about how much money a dude got, because Ari Lennox, I've seen a video of it, and this was a video, it was a live stream that she did, and on this live she was talking about this time she got digmatized by a man, right? And I think after that experience, it put her in a certain mindset where she knows that money isn't what makes a man a quality man. Ari Lennox is looking at this man for, does this man love me? Is this man masculine to me? And does this man have some good dick? How does he make my body feel? And a woman who is in touch with her body, nobody gives a fuck about the body count of a woman who's in touch with her body. A woman who's truly sexually liberated, nobody cares about that, especially if she's attractive. She has her own money. She does her own thing, but she knows how to be submissive with you. You don't care about how many bodies she has. When you care about a woman's body count, her sexual past, it's more so comes from a place of sexual jealousy, because you know that you're trying to leverage things outside of sex to gain sexual access to that woman. So just understand these things. Like Ari Lennox, like Broke. Listen to Ari Lennox. You have to listen to Ari Lennox. There are certain people that you listen to where you're just going to learn so many things that are so important when it comes to socio-sexual dynamics. Let's see. I know that there are some more people. I know I'm not going to get to everybody. But by listening to these things, you learn so much. So this is just how neo-soul is a cheat code to developing sexual confidence. You have to put yourself